Hi guys, how are you all doing today? It is so amazing to see you guys.
Thank you.
So, almost a year ago, well, last fall, I got a call and they said, we're starting a new organization. It's called WIN. How many of y'all have heard of it? That's awesome. So it's called the Women's Impact Network. And they said, we'd like to come on as a board of director and really build this organization. I had no clue what I was getting into. And in fact, one of the powerhouses that started this organization at EXP is right here. We have Elizabeth Riley. She's one of the 5 people that said, you know what, we need something like this at EXP. So if you have a minute, open your work chat workspace and look for Women's Impact Network. Like it so that we can start sending you stuff. But this for me has been the most transformative last 9 months. It is not just a professional organization, but what really set it apart was that it has not only agents, but also staff. So think about this. This is an organization that is looking to empower women leaders, and our goal really is to bring out new voices, new thoughts, new challenges, come together as a community, as a tribe. And I would encourage all of you all to go find us on Workspace. And we have our second summit happening in September 15th through the 17th, and we'll have some slides for it over here. But this has been amazing. Some of those vulnerable talks that we've had, I've had in our last summit, there were people that were literally crying and sharing things that gave them so much empowerment because they were just like, oh my gosh, this is like, I needed to get this out. So guys, if you're not part of it, please be. And then thanks to WIN, about a few weeks ago, I got introduced to this amazing lady. I got on a call with her and instantly connected with her because there was some entrepreneurship and women and leaders, there was a connection there. And the more I kept talking to her, I was like, oh my God, like everybody needs to know who this person is. And I'm super honored to bring on stage Ariana Pareja. So I know that a lot of people don't know Ariana. We all know that she's Leo's wife, that's great. But I want to introduce you to her because she is a powerhouse woman. So I'm going to read out her bio because this is amazing. She's an entrepreneur, investor, and a mentor who started her first business at 21 years old. She went on to co-found Remine, a real estate technology software that served over 1 million realtors nationwide and was acquired by MLS Technologies. After Remine, she became the co-founder and president of Mighty Minis, a children's vitamin brand born on season 1 of Billion Dollar Showdown, which aired on national television on CBS. The brand is a spin-off of No Sugar Company, a global powerhouse with 53 products sold in 73 countries, nearing 1 billion in annual sales. What did I tell you guys? Committed to helping entrepreneurs scale, Ariana has mentored founders through Target's Forward Founders Accelerator, the National Retailers Program for Early Stage Consumer Brands, along with the Venture Mentoring Team, Harvard Business School South Florida, and Microsoft's AI's Accelerator Program. Beyond mentorship, she leads the Pareja Family Foundation, which partners with the Miami-Dade College to provide financial literacy programs that empower underrepresented women and minorities. Guys, Ariana Pareja for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction. Believe me, guys, I'm not that impressive. So, just kidding. So yeah, we're going to talk today about AI, and I'm really looking forward to it. When Smitha had reached out to me about this conversation, I said, one thing that I think all, not just realtors, but business people in general could use is just the knowledge of how to delegate their time. I mean, that's a kind of a common conversation that's been going on all morning about time hacking and being able to have more time for your family, more time for your clients, more time for the things that matter the most. And so we're going to dive into that on how we can save you all some major amount of time today and streamline and automate most of your day-to-day business.
So, it's not very many times that we have a entrepreneur woman who is as nerdy as I am, and she's in tech. So we're going to talk about tech and AI today, and we're really going to deep dive into it. But I want to take a step back, Ariana. At 21, you became an entrepreneur. What was it? What was it that caused that spark? What was it that really made you feel that, this is what my life's calling is?
That's a great question. I think it was more, I fell into entrepreneurship more out of necessity, right? So think back to that period of time in my life. It was, we were going into this transition of the downturn. And quite frankly, nobody was hiring, right? And so it was either I make a business for myself or I just keep getting rejected. So it was more out of necessity.
Fantastic.
I think a lot of folks here might have had that same backstory.
Yes, and
during
I'm
that
sure,
time.
like you have said, there's ups and downs, and there are things that we go through, especially as entrepreneurs. It's not always hunky-dory all the time. So tell me when you had the lows, when there were those lows, how did you what was your mindset like? What was it that said, you know what, no matter what it is, and I totally resonate with the seasons of life, but what was it inside, internally, that made you feel like, we're just going to get over this and make it bigger and better?
So when you're pushed up against the wall, and your back is pushed up against the wall, and you have no choice but to move forward, no choice but to create a return for your investors, no turn but to keep going for your clients, to keep going for your team members, you don't really have much of a choice but to just move forward, right? You will have your moments and you'll have your pity party and you'll cry yourself to sleep, as Leo mentioned earlier, which we did take turns doing quite often. But when push comes to shove, you've got to find that passion deep down inside of, who am I doing this for? What's my why? To better service my customers, to provide a better life for my kids, to a better life for my family. So when you have those dark moments and you are crying yourself to sleep, you have to take a step back and just remember why you're doing this in the first place.
I love that. I think one word that comes to me when we talk about entrepreneurs, and you all believe that we're business owners, right? Yes? Okay, show of hands. We all are business owners. We're not real estate agents. I call myself a real estate entrepreneur because I truly believe that I am building my own business. So I hope you all do that too. But I think one word, Ariana, that I really took away was resilience, right? No matter what it is, we keep going and we keep moving forward. All right, let's get to the hot topic of the evening, or I guess the past 6 months, the next 5 years, is AI. So how many of you here think that AI is going to replace us? Okay, thank God. I'm very happy not to see any hands. Thank you. But yes, I don't believe that AI is going to replace us, but share with us your thought process. You are working a lot with AI and technology. Share with me what you feel, what your message is to real estate entrepreneurs here about AI.
Yeah, so I've had the privilege of working with over 100 founders through the Microsoft AI Accelerator program. And so what this program is every 6 weeks they bring in a batch of the best AI-focused tech-based businesses throughout Latin America, and they try to get them established in Miami. And so I've met folks that at the beginning of the 6-week accelerator program, all they have is just an idea. And at the end of the 6 weeks, they have an entire fully automated software ready to launch. This was not the case 5 years ago. When Leo and I started Remine in 2015, end of 2015, we had to raise a lot of money. We had 5 co-founders, we had several programmers, an entire team of data scientists that was mining the 160 million parcels of residential data in the United States. We were going up against CoreLogic. We had to raise $48 million and hire over 100 engineers just to get our simple first contracts deployed. To build our first MVP, we had to put $650,000 of our own money several programmers just to get a working V1 of the product. Founders today, they can do this by lunch. Right now, you can build, brand, test, sell. Build, brand, test, sell a company in a matter of weeks. And there's, things like Lovable, like what we had mentioned earlier. You could build out an entire website with low to no code. You've got, you can test through Hotjar. So for example, if I was selling real estate today, and let's say I wanted to transition into my brand of I'm the relocation expert, I could go to ChatGPT, I can say, help me write web copy, and give me 2 different versions for a landing page on how to attract relocation clients. And I could actually test out the copy. And then I can build out my entire brand on Canva, my website, my logo, my brand voice, my identity, my colors, have a month's worth of content ready to go, and then I could sell it. I could have something like Follow Up Boss or HubSpot that can nurture my leads on a day-to-day basis. Now, is that going to replace the core relationship that you have with your clients? No, but at least I could have someone nurturing them, right? This wasn't the case 5 years ago. So what does that mean? That means that billion-dollar brands are going to be built overnight with what used to take hundreds of employees, but just with a couple different softwares. And so that is the reality, and that's that kind of that anxiety that Leo's trying to push onto you guys, is that you have got to get yourselves prepared, right? And let me give you another example of this. Let's say, for example, I am buying a house in Houston, and I get 2 referrals, one from EXP agent Brandon and one from Sarah at Remax. Now I'm going to reach out to EXP agent Brandon, and he's going to say, hey, I'm going to find his content online, and I'm going to see all of his content, and we'll say, oh, download my 5-step process to relocating to Houston. Okay, I got that piece of content, which, by the way, he created on Designer for less than $5, okay? Then I'm going to get on a Zoom call with him, and we're going to talk about kind of what I'm looking for and all this. And afterwards, I'm going to get an automated email highlighting everything that we spoke about, a market report, AI-generated market report, and even an example of what our next steps should be and our agenda for our next call. Okay? That's high-level customer service. Versus the person from Remax is going to call me and say, oh, yeah, here's my this and that, and that's it. You can go and create website landing pages for a listing appointment. Show up to that listing appointment and say, hey, 1105 Lincoln Avenue, I already have a website ready, up and running for you, ready to go. Imagine what your client would think if you did that. It costs you $11 a month. There's so many different tools out there. And so for the agents that are not using those tools, they are going to go extinct because you're going to be up against somebody who is, and it's going to make you look bad, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that we all take away a lot, which I've learned recently, is that AI really can enhance what we're doing and 100x our efficiency output to make us much better at our businesses, right? It's as simple as that. The tools that Ariana is talking about, in fact, yesterday I was having a conversation with Sean, and we were talking about Lovable, so I went back last night, and I went on Lovable, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna create my own CRM system. So yes, I mean, y'all can do, there's so much, I believe, that we can do to use it to make our businesses more efficient so that it's able to help us stand out. And I think it's, like you said, like Leo said, speak to lead, because this is when a lot of people are struggling. And if we are also in that struggling phase, I feel like you should maybe buddy up with, your team members, the team leaders over here should take time to teach people what AI can do to enhance their businesses. Can we talk about some practical tools? So I know you mentioned when people talk, you're able to send them automated messages. Are there any other examples that you feel practically real estate agents are able to use in their business or should be thinking of finding the tools for their business?
Yeah, there's so many out there. And so you just mentioned get an accountability partner. I say take it a step further. Join an AI mastermind group, or if not, create one. Yeah. Because this is not going away, this is not a fad. Where we're living in, the moment we're living in, I don't think people understand the digital revolution that is in front of us right now. Like we've said in previous conversations before, that this is much bigger than just the dot-com boom. Mm-hmm. So being in rooms like this, getting involved with AI community groups so that you can learn tools every single day is super important. I'd say some of my favorite tools is obviously ChatGPT. And by the way, I don't know if you guys are keeping on pace as to all the different versions of ChatGPT, but the latest one that dropped in February just now has passed the bar. It can, so like it's PhD level. It's version 4.5 versus version 3. It's 10 times more capable. The IQ is 10 times higher. So this is just the beginning. And the better versed you are at this, the better you will be 36 months from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. So as you mentioned before in my bio, I've got a lot going on. I'm doing a lot of different projects and a lot of different things. And people are always asking me, well, how do you run a foundation and invest in all these different projects and do all these things and speak? Well, because I have it all automated. So perfect example for a great way to build out content that doesn't take time. Now, we have all heard of Opus. And who's using Opus, by the way? Okay, every single hand in this room should be up. That is one of the easiest, fastest tools that you can use to let's say you did a podcast interview or you went to a listing appointment. You could take all of that content, drop the YouTube link into Opus, and it'll create 20 to 30 pieces of content from that 1 hour video that you can then repurpose onto Instagram. NVIDIA.ai is one of my favorites as well. So we're launching a children's vitamin gummy, as she mentioned in the bio, where the product's in manufacturing, we don't actually have the product yet. So I needed to create some little short commercials for that product. So what I did was I went into ChatGPT and I said, I need you to write me a children's vitamin commercial. These are the different, call outs about the product. Create a 30-second Instagram reel. And like that, I have a high quality commercial promoting my product that I can now use on Instagram. So NVIDIA.ai is one of my favorites as well. They use a lot of stock images, but you can edit it the way you want and put more information into it. Jasper is great for content writing. Jasper AI, let's say you've got newsletters and blogs. Hotjar, which I mentioned earlier, to test out different landing pages is a great tool. And I think that Designer, so Designer is also another one. That's the one where you can write out, hey, I want to create a really easy downloadable PDF book. This is a great value add for customers. Maybe after you go to a listing presentation, you send that to them right afterwards of like, hey, here's the 5 steps to get your house ready to sell. It takes a matter of moments. But the key here is to really just play around. Play around. The more you play around, and look, most of these platforms, they're month to month. Play around with it for 2 months. If you find out that it's not working for you, then cancel your subscription. But at least try to play around.
100%. So I'll tell you, I personally have tried creating content. Of course, Opus Clips, guys, if y'all don't have it, download it now. Make sure y'all are making notes because these are really good tools that you can use immediately. So Jasper, video.ai, these are amazing. It's really literally within 15 minutes, you can create content for your whole week, right? We all talk about content, being out there in front of our clients, being out there, the follow-ups, like you mentioned, to automate the follow-ups. You can use all of these tools to do this, that what you would have done in a week, and then outsourced it for somebody else to edit these videos, do all of this stuff. This is all automated, done in 15 minutes. So make sure you try it. I wanted to switch a little bit, and I know we talk about, a lot of times we hear about people that are using AI are worried about not being able to come out in an authentic way. It's important for all of us to be able to stand out in our own authentic self, because that's how we're able to attract our tribe, our people. So share with me, how do people blend that AI with their authentic selves?
That's a great question, because we're still at the beginning of this digital transformation that we're living in. And so there's really no ethics standards in place as of yet. But as a rule of thumb, you would want to disclose. Like, for example, there is an app called HeyGen, which folks are now using, and they're automating, they're basically creating an AI avatar of themselves, and they're using it to communicate with their clients. Now, me personally, if I was still running a team, would I do that? Yes and no. Maybe I would, but I would disclose that, hey, this is AI, Ariana 2.0, yeah. Right? And I would disclose that this is an avatar. It is me, but it is an avatar. And I would probably use it more just for like my website, for frequently asked questions. I would use it to onboard new employees. I remember when we were onboarding new team members, I had a 4-day step process of day 1 through day 4, and I would sit with them. A lot of that could have been automated through using HeyGen. So I would say, it's important to keep that authenticity there, because right now we're living in this age of where nobody knows what's real anymore, yeah. Right? So the more you come up and show up as your authentic self, the more trust you're going to be able to build with your clients. So if you are using things like that, then I would disclose that.
Disclose that. I like that. So how many of us, can anyone shout out one repetitive task that you do in your daily routine? Repetitive. Every day you're like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. Come on, guys.
Pull comps.
Comps?
Yes.
Pull comps, yes. Sean, you had something?
Explain team structures and fees.
Explain team structures and fees. Ariana, share with us some team roles or things that teams can do to automate using AI.
Yeah, so basically the idea is any task that is very highly repetitive is something that you could most likely automate out, right? We are still a very much so belly-to-belly relationship industry, and we always will be. And I don't care what anybody says, we are a relationship-based people. That's just what we are. And folks, I don't care what they say. If you would have asked me this question 10 years ago and said, what do you think is going to happen to realtors by 2025? 10 years ago, I would have said there's so many hundreds of millions of dollars being poured into the prop tech space that we're going to be obsolete. And then here we are, still standing. We're not going anywhere, right? And so I'd say that highly repetitive tasks you can automate, but that's only to give you and free up time to have more in-person experiences, because the entire culture of us as a society, we are all online. We're just scrolling all day long. I can see people doing it right now. We have a problem being present in the moment. So if you can create amazing experiences for your clients in person, that's going to take you a long way. I'll give this example of, so when Leo and I ran our real estate team, we worked with a lot of developers. And so what we would do with our top 3 developers, every quarter, we would host a dinner at our house. Now, that sounds simple, doesn't sound that crazy, but we personally would cook. And by we, I mean Leo, because Leo is actually a fantastic cook. And so he would create a 3-star meal like by hand, and I would do the tablescape because I make a mean tablescape. But that goes a long way, because there's something about breaking bread with a client in your home with a meal that you prepared than a restaurant, right? This practice is done in every other country. It's an American concept. It's kind of foreign to us, but breaking bread in someone's home, I mean, that's what I would be doing. I'd be concentrating on those type of experiences, because not many people are doing that anymore.
Absolutely. I'm going to take questions from the audience in just a couple of minutes, but before we get there, so make sure you get all your your hard AI questions out there for Ariana, okay? Before we get there, I guess for people that are feeling intimidated, right? There are people that have not used AI as much. Maybe our extent of usage of AI has been ChatGPT. Share with us what they can do today. What can they do when they get out of this room this evening to really build themselves out as a strong AI-enhanced individual business?
Yeah, if we take a step back further as to like, why do we feel this uncertainty or this fear? Well, because it's new, because it's a change, and because it's inevitable, right? If you think back to the listing presentation books, so Holly and I were talking about this before, I bet those realtors, when the internet came out, said, oh, I'm not gonna get a website, this seems like complicated. Well, what happened to them? They had to adapt, right? So let's face that, the facts. We have to adapt. Now, unless you're a Compass agent, well, actually, I'll let Leo do that. You know, but the fact is, we have to adapt here, okay? And so the sooner you just come to the facts of like, hey, this is happening, I need to jump on board, the sooner you can just dive in. And I think that goes back to, again, getting an accountability partner, getting into like, just promise yourself to play around with ChatGPT 10 minutes a day. And you can actually go into ChatGPT and ask and say, hey, I am new at this, and I want to know how to better use this for myself. Can you give me 3 examples of how I should be using ChatGPT based on my business and my goals? It's that simple.
I love it. I'm going to give you all a task before we get to questions really quick. Once we're done with this, I want you to take 2 minutes, and the people that are around you on your table, please take their information. They are your accountability partner for your AI journey. Yes? Okay, let's do it as soon as we're done with questions, guys. You guys like, okay, I have Elizabeth, I have Holly. Yeah. Okay, guys, any questions on AI? Go ahead.
I think Brandon's got a question.
We're going to get you a microphone.
I can just yell. I don't care.
Go ahead, Brandon. Yell.
This is a theory crafting question. So I heard it, Tom Ferry said it the other day that Google is looking into changing from a search engine to a response engine. What are your thoughts on that? This is speculative, but what are your thoughts on search engines turning into a response engine and that being how we operate, basically going to the language-based model?
Yeah, so SEO is dead, right? And I think that the more content you have out there, the more someone's going to find you. You must have had a tremendous amount of content specifically about that subject as to why that buyer, the investor client found you, right? I met a gentleman earlier this morning. What was it? The realtor in the fedora? What's it? Fedora? What is it again?
The realtor in the fedora.
The realtor in the fedora. I typed that into Google. He said, do this, it's a fun party trick. I typed it up and like 30 videos popped up. That's amazing. Like that is what we should all be striving for. Now, I think, God, what was it? 7, 8 years ago, if I was in a room like this, I would be preaching that data is the new currency, data is the new currency, data is the new currency. With ChatGPT rolling out 2 years ago, data is no longer the new currency. We all have access to the same amount of data, right? So the playing field has been leveled. So what is going to set us apart? If we all have the same access to information, if we all can tap into all the same data, what makes you different as a business owner? Your influence, your AI fluency. So instead of data being the currency, which is what I used to say, because at the time it was, I think that attention and influency is the new currency. So work on your personal brand. Be like the realtor with the fedora. Be able to be found.
Thank you. Another question. Brian, just to answer your question, I actually read an article recently that said that eventually that is how it's going to be, is all search will be responsive. And I believe Copilot is doing that quite a bit when you go search, as well as Bing has, all their searches are changing. So yeah, I believe that it will. Go ahead.
the example of founders in 6 weeks building a full app, I think it's called Bolt, to try to build something, and it got stuck. Are you seeing like these are engineers that are building, or these are like business-focused people that are able to build full apps within 6 weeks?
Yeah, great question. So it's been a mix. Typically, there's usually one practitioner of the industry that they're trying to, the problem that they're trying to solve, and they'll have like 1 or 2 engineers on the team.
Okay, so.
But not always. But there are some times where there's like someone who's never written a line of code, period, but just has a great idea and is a subject matter expert in their industry, and they've been able to figure that out. But there's obviously, you're going to have some, you're going to need a engineer. But what my point of the story was earlier was that it would normally take 100 engineers for 1 or 2 now.
Yeah, so the guy who, I think you gave an example, built some, what was it, Whisper or something? House Whisper? Was he technical that he's able to do that?
And I would say, like, I've seen more happen in the last 60 days than I had in the last 2 years.
So if I tried something 3 months ago, go try it again, it's going to be different.
Yes, try the lovable.
Any other questions, guys? One last question. All right.
And DM me so I know you did it.
We're being accountable. We're doing accountability this time.
Yeah, thanks for the information. Is AI fluency like a real word, or did you just come up with that?
No, that I've heard that word coined. Yeah, yeah.
The one question I have is how many subscriptions should we expect to have, like, built into our business? Like, what type of budget? Because, like, I'm kind of half joking, but also seriously, because now it's a subscription for everything.
Yeah.
Especially with all the new tools, it's like 7-day trial, then we roll into something, and then it's like, how do we go through and navigate this landscape where there's an AI tool for everything, but what are the most important? I think that might be, some of the masterminding, or if there's like an AI expertise like inside of EXP, but anyway.
That's a great question, but I think that the answer to that depends on you and your business, right? If you're heavily reliant on buyers and you're going direct to consumer and you are creating a bunch of content every single day, then yeah, Opus One is a no-brainer. If you are working with investors and you need to come up with an AI-generated investor report, then that's important to you. It depends on your business, but I would say as far as figuring out which ones work for you, pick one and give it a 30-day test, right? I always say give everything, because a 7-day trial is not going to be enough. A 30 days is not, it takes 21 days to form a new habit. That's just facts. So if you're going to do something new, give it a solid 30 days, get a proof of concept that it works, and if it does go the way you want it to work and it worked well, then go all in and execute. But give yourself 30 days. Forget a 7-day trial. Just pay the monthly fee or whatever it is. And you can always cancel later. All of these things are month-to-month subscriptions. Give it a solid 30 days. See if it works, and then execute.
I totally echo what Ariana said. I have another tip for you because this is what I did. So obviously I use ChatGPT. Put all the processes, SOPs, everything in ChatGPT, and I actually asked ChatGPT, what are the tools that I need to automate this in AI? So obviously it gave me a whole list of things and efficiencies that I can put into the processes, especially the repeatable ones. And then I picked and chose. Then I picked and chose which particular tools would make most sense to be used.
Yeah, and like for example, if you're big on listings and you want to impress your listing clients and have a custom website and each one of those landing pages for that particular property can then be redirected to your website. Durable is durable.com. It'll ask you 3 questions and it'll do 80% of the legwork of creating the website. And then from there you just pop in, a picture of the property photo, your logo, and boom, you have a new listing appointment website ready to go. And I think that will wow a customer.
Yeah, I love it. Guys, I'm getting eyes, serious dagger eyes from Sarah, so I have to stop right here. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Ariana. This is fantastic. And guys, don't forget, take your names and phone numbers of the people around on your table, and they are your accountability partner for AI Journey. Thank you.